This week's video sees purposeful punting in Race A. In Race B, it all gets a bit touring car-esque with a bit of banging. And in Race C, it all gets a little bit tight as we get squashed. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2022. It's week 44 and this week, well, it all gets a bit clunky if I do say so myself. In the background you can see I'm in a Corvette ZR1 C4. It's the 1989 car. It still is in the used dealership if you want to use this car. Now I'm using this because Inferno Fox posted out a setup, so I was like, aha, I will use it. Now, we're racing at Suzuka, but the short circuit. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 10 laps here at Suzuka short circuit. It's a grid start with that false start check. It's comfort soft tyres, times 1 fuel and tyre wear, and critically, 246 horsepower, 1,100 kilograms, and FR only. So there's lots of slidey boys out there in this one. And if you don't like tuning and you don't like daily race A, there are timestamps there to jump to the next race of your choosing. But if you're staying with me, staying with Race A, let's jump to it now and let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are then at the start. So Inferno Fox in pole position there in the Viper though, not the Corvette. This has pop-up headlights. I'm flashing those headlights. Now traction control on one. Remember to hold the handbrake as we get ready to start. And off we go then. Let's see how good or bad this car is at the start. It appears quite good then. We're going to go down the middle of Hakan and Sam. And then Sam's actually... No, Hakan, sorry, is actually catching up to Chicken Angel. I think that was as well. As we head down towards turn 1 then. We've gained a few positions from the start, which is all very well and good. As we look at a BMW there. The old M3. Reminds me of sort of like a DTM-ish car, that. With that livery as well. So fair play, GM Power. We're into here then. We've got another M3 there, actually. A couple of people picking it. As we go through the right-hander. The Viper was top of the board. Oh, a bit of oversteer there for Den as they go into this left-hander there, side by side. We're going touring car-esque now, aren't they? My word. In towards this right we go. Slight tag there. We're going to get down the inside then of JM Power, and we take that position and up into P7 as we come towards the end of this first lap of 10. Into the right-hander we go. We've got Mario Sonic in the distance in the TBR Tuscan. That was also up there on the leaderboards. Let's come through here. There's a side tap on Jeff there by Den, and we're going to look to try and get both positions because this car in a straight line pretty quick, and you do need a car that is quick. There is though one car which appears to be quicker in this race in a straight line. We'll have a look at that. Anyway, we're down the inside of Den coming into turn 1. Very risky to go side by side, but Den decides you can race clean with TCR Tidgney, and look at this. We're actually side by side through the corner. We get a better exit there, and we take the position. Volley Khan there has a penalty. They're in the Subaru BRZ, the Marlboro Subaru BRZ, so we're up into P4. Now, in the distance, we're looking to catch up to Billy and Mario Sonic there as we go through the right-hander. Keeping it tight here, trying to stop the oversteer, although we fail miserably that time. And we're heading down here. Now, if we have a look in the distance, Mario Sonic goes towards the right, and Billy says no into barrier. Mario Sonic pushes back and goes through. Not sure what that was all about, other than Billy trying to put Mario into the wall, so... yeah, just very confusing, really. I'm not sure why you would do that anyway. I mean, if you feel like somebody's been a dirty driver to you, you just avoid it. But we know Mario does race clean. There's sometimes a few taps, but everyone does a few taps. You'll see that later on in the race from me as well. Anyway, coming through here, Billy is getting a little bit, well, he got a bit drifty there, and a bit drifty again, and drifty again, and onto the grass. At this point, I'm thinking, oh no, here we go. Where can I go here? Because they're going to understeer, oversteer. They're just sort of everywhere. As we come through here, they're still oversteering. They try and correct it, and I'm sort of off there. But they do have a penalty. So I'm like, okay, well, they've got a penalty now because they cut that corner previously. Just have to stay behind. However, they're just all over the place. So we go down here. They're still all over the place. We go down the inside. That penalty, not really needed for us as we advance further on. Then we're going to go into a lap guide here. There's only one brake marker for us to use. And as we head towards turn 1, you may want to use a 100-meter board or use the end of the barrier that I've highlighted there. Either of those two seem appropriate. I'm trying to get closer towards the end of the barrier and come in 4th gear. Don't go too aggressive because you will understeer off, and you really, really, really don't want to do that. So as we come through here, again, it's all about stability, and you're going to see that some cars are just way too oversteery as we catch up to Mario Sonic. Now, going through here, you don't really want to be braking. Some cars brake because they have to. Obviously, Mario Sonic struggling in that TVR Tuscan. This car does not have to brake. I'll show you that later on as well. But it's all about balance here. So I'm just balancing the car. The car is staying nice, smooth, consistent. I'm only braking because Mario Sonic is up ahead. I've got a bit of dirty air in there as well. Other than that, you really don't need to brake. You can literally just accelerate and roll through the corners as we go through here. Now, I do that corner a little bit wrong there. Could not see the apex in the slightest. But you're seeing the struggle of that TVR Tuscan as we come through here. Then I get a bit of oversteer there as well. Now, I mentioned about one car that seemed quicker in a straight line. Well, you're looking at it, the TVR Tuscan up ahead. Now, believe it or not, for those that don't know, I am from the hometown of TVR. Yes, I am from Blackpool. And I used to live 2 minutes from the factory. It was literally across the park. Back in the day, obviously it's not there anymore. A Russian bought it and then it got sold, and now it's based in Wales-ish, and we're waiting for a Griffith. Yeah, even so, there you go. A bit of TVR history for you. Even had a family member work there as well. So, through the right-hander we go. You can see the TVR struggling a lot there, and we went for avoiding action there because Mario Sonic was literally mostly across the circuit there, and I didn't know what to do. We've advanced a bit further on here, back up to Mario Sonic then, so you can see this setup is more for the handling side of it, and it works really well. The problem is you can't really overtake on the handling section. It's all about this. As you see, we get a little bit better run than the TVR driver then, but that TVR Tuscan just accelerates away. It's just pushing away, pulling away from me there. So we really have to hope Mario makes a mistake or we get a really good run here. Going into turn one then, once again, just keeping it nice and stable. And this is how you do it. Now I'm looking for the run out the corner here if I can, as we get a beautiful run, actually, to be honest with you. Mario Sonic goes towards the right, so I'm thinking, oh, excellent. I can go in the left here. We can brake a little bit later because we don't normally brake for that corner. And we come through here. There's a slightest tap there with a bit of oversteer. Mario Sonic catches it. I continue on. That's all fair play from us and me and Mario as well. So we're going to advance a bit further on here now towards the final lap. And I'm just going to show you here that you don't have to brake. So going through here, again, I'm just going to lift off, just bouncing the car. And as I come towards this last corner, again, I just lift off, let the car roll through the corner. No brakes needed. Remember, if you brake, it's an additional input that can cause the car to oversteer, understeer, do all sorts. The less you do it, the more chance of getting a faster lap as well, so keep that in mind. However, big shout out there to Inferno Fox. It is Inferno Fox's setup. We'll have a look at that in a second. But my word, what domination there. 14-second lead in that Viper. So a huge shout out to Inferno Fox. TCR 1-2. Happy days. Right, let's have a look at the setup then. Let's have a look at this if you want to use this Corvette ZR1. So here we are with the setup then. On the right side, all the tuning parts you need to install. You can also see we've got clutch and flywheel racing, brake balance controller, the brake systems, etc. All racing pads, etc., etc. Now, we also need to have a look at the left-hand side, where we have the Comfort Soft tyres, the fully customizable suspension, of course, differential, fully customizable, downforce. Be careful of that rear wing. I put on the smaller rear wing, and it actually only went to 250 on the rear, so you do have to put the big wing on there, the big wang, and obviously you can see the ECU, etc. And the transmission, the top speed, I literally just knocked down the values in terms of it was 310 down to 260. I didn't change any of the ratios inside that. So obviously there's some tweaking that can be done there, but a huge shout out to Inferno Fox for this setup. Anyway, we're all done here in terms of race A. Let's jump to race B. Welcome then to Autopolis. So we are actually racing the short circuit, which is unusual for race B, to be honest. It's normally a race A circuit is Autopolis short. However, here we are, Autopolis short, and we're in Group 4 cars, as you can see. And I spoke about DTM in the last race. This is DTM in this race. We are in the Alfa Romeo 155. You can see that. Quite clearly going to be the OP car for this one, in my opinion. It's just too good at handling, and Autopolis short is a handling circuit. How many laps are we doing here? Well, let's find out. That's right, we're doing 8 laps at Autopolis short. It's a rolling start, which works perfectly fine. Racing hard tyres, not a fan of. Tyres on fuel and tyre wear. And of course, we're in Group 4, so it's the BOP. The BOP is on, the medium speed BOP. Not that it makes much difference which BOP it is. Right, let's stop all the bopping. Let's bop on to the race, and let's see how the Alfa Romeo handles itself and what actually happens in this one, because there's some good racing action in this one. Here we are then at the start. As you can see, most of the grid in Alfa Romeos. We got Fuzzy Bear from TCR in the Atenza, but I'm not sure it's the right choice. Now, Mario Sonic must have had the gear RNG there. We've been actually on the rev limiter because we get an absolute launch and a half here as we head towards turn 1. I was thinking about going for the move, but Aerosonic goes defensive, so I'm thinking, okay, well, we'll see what happens here. So I'm thinking, round the outside. Cold tyres round the outside doesn't work. Don't try it, trust me. It really, really doesn't work. You can see that right there. Right, heading towards turn number 2 then, and P9 here. So into the right hand we go. Aerosonic with a good move there on Old Banger. In fact, you could argue these cars are old bangers, really, couldn't you? Because they are from an older generation, properly square from back in the day. Who remembers some of the square cars there? We've got the silhouette, of course, in Nissan in this game. And once again, I'm trying around the outside with cold tyres. It doesn't work, Tidge. Stop trying to do the same thing over and over and over again. So I am going to stop trying things over and over and over again. There we go. Down the inside then of Old Banger. And I talked about Chaos Theory last time. It was Insanity. Definition of Insanity. So thank you for commenting on that. So through the right-hander we go. Up into P8 then. We've got Clumsy up ahead. I'm assuming a Max Verstappen fan, being from Holland, in the Red Bull liveried car. So we're going to head towards... Oh, who was that? Somebody was off there towards that right hand. We're going to have to actually have a look at the bloopers for that one. No idea what was going on, but we're up into the cursed position then of P6 with Mr. Potato Head and Aerosonic going side by side. I mean, to be honest with you, where is Mrs. Potato Head in this race? We want to see Mrs. Potato Head in this, more so than Mr. Potato Head. Apologies, but we just want to see it. You know, more girls, more females, more women into the sim racing if they want to do it. Right, anyway, into us right hand we go. Lots of just sort of everyone hitting each other. Bam, bam, bam. But we carry on all the same, and we're right behind Mr. Potato Head. As we're going to get a bit of slipstream here, actually, as we get closer and closer and closer. We are right under those quad exhausts. Over towards the right hand side we go, in towards the braking zone. Do we outbrake the Potato Head? We do, but they turn in really early, and I have to really slow down here just because I'm on the curve, which does compromise my exit here. And Clumsy is trying to down the inside there. There's just enough room for Clumsy as they go down the inside. Now I'm going to have to try around the outside here. And we're going to have a bit of a good race here with Clumsy, actually. Look at that, side by side. Beautiful stuff. I've obviously got to slow it down a little bit more here with Clumsy on my outside. Tries around the outside. Doesn't quite work there. In towards the braking zone. And we're going to keep that position for now then. And we're going to have to rework our magic on Mr. Potato Head as we continue on out of that corner. So we have dropped them a little bit behind as we head towards turn number 2, technically, or 3. I actually don't know the numbering system at Autopolis, because you could technically say the kink there. We did have a little look there, but we weren't alongside, so that wouldn't have really worked. It's not really a braking zone either. In towards this braking zone at the hairpin, however. And we're looking for a good run out the corner. And that is what we're going to get here. Look at that. No wheel spin. Absolutely beautifully nailed here. As we head towards the left-hander then, Mr. Potato Head on the inside. I can't really do much with that. And slow it down. Oh, that's a beautiful defense there from Potato Head because they stopped on the apex. I could not go anywhere. They knew what I was going to try here. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to overtake on this corner because, well, they'll have the slipstream down the start-finish straight. So I'm going for a really wide line here to get the jump off the corner. And that way I can have the slipstream, go for a clean pass with the slipstream. And that's what we're going to aim for here. It's the best way to overtake at Autopolis short. So it's what I would recommend to you folks as well. You can see now that slipstream really playing into effect here down the inside of Potato Head. And we're going to get it stopped here beautifully. So up into P5. We can see a podium in the distance. Aerosonic currently in that position. We've got Piggy in there as well. Shout out to Piggy. I know Piggy got stage fright previously. We're racing Hector, though, from the US of A, I assume. It says I Hector USA. So once again, I'm going for that cutback. Got to be careful. As you saw Mr. Potato Head look down the inside. You have to be careful of that in case the car does go down there. But I'm after the same thing, the slipstream, to really push me alongside so I can actually overtake the driver in towards turn 1, because it's really the only overtaking place. The other one is turn 2 or 3 or whatever you want to call it. We're going to go into a lap guide as well. So turn 1, I'm using the painted orange barrier on the left-hand side. I'm actually braking just after that. This car is so slow, of course, and we don't get as good of a run as we do from the full circuit, that you can literally brake a little bit later on there. So through the right-hander we go. We're side by side with Hector here. And as we head towards this right-hander, it's the same brake marker I've used 1,000 times. I use it every single time. That piece of tarmac there, literally my brake marker. Once again, I'm braking just after it here, just because the the car's a little bit slower on acceleration. The braking is really good as well. It's got a lot of downforce, of course, so it handles the corners in terms of apex speed. Through here, it's all about balancing the car more than anything, so no real markers to show you. But as you leave this and head towards the hairpin, the end of the curb on the right-hand side is your brake marker. We used to use a White Van Man, but White Van Man is not in practice, so they've been sacked. They are no longer of use to us. We are using the curb. You might want to use them in the race, to be honest with you, but hey, this is a lap guide for you, and some people complained when we just used race assets only. Right, head towards this left-hander then. You may want to just lift here, or you may want to accelerate into it and dab the brake a little bit. It's your choice. I do a mixture of both. It depends in the race. As you see, I'm accelerating here. I decided I've taken a bit too much speed. As you get to this point here, the marshal box in the center of your screen, accelerate. You should make the corner absolutely fine. If you feel like you're going to steer off a little bit, then back it off a little bit. However, look at that. It's just nailed. There's no issues there at all. That marshal box, a beautiful accelerating marker. Use it. Use it on the full circuit. Use it on the short circuit. It's amazing. Right, we head towards the last corner then. You got a choice of the arrow on the left, you're braking just after it, or the curb on the right. Now, I was actually using the curb on the right as my brake marker, so as that hits the edge of your screen, hit the brakes, go into here. Now, you sort of bounce in the car, waiting, accelerate out. Be careful of understeer as you accelerate as we continue on through. Nothing much changed in the race as we go to the final lap then, and we're actually going to get the fastest lap there with a 1:12.9. A lot more time is in the lap, so you can definitely go quicker than me. But a P4 finish for me there. Some good racing with a few folks there. Mr. Potato Head, for example, and also Clumsy as well with that side-by-side earlier on. That's it for Race B then. Let's head to Race C. Welcome then to Dragontrail Gardens for Race C. And as you can see, we're in Group 3, so I've chosen the Porsche here just for convenience more than anything for this one, because it's a handling circuit, and I know a lot of cars are going to have different variations, especially when you look at the race settings. So it's like, the Porsche is a safe bet in all race situations. Let's pick it for this one, and let's see how the strategy and race unfolds with what people pick and don't pick. So we're in Group 3. Let's look at the race details then. How many laps are we doing? Well, we're doing 13 laps here at Dragontrail Gardens. It's a rolling start. Once again, it is fixed. Happy days. Racing medium and hard tyres, both are required. Times 5 fuel and times 10 tyre wear, and they are both significant. So it's a little bit of a fuel race. It's definitely a tyre race as well. Lots of strategy to think about in this one. It's a very much a strategy race. You can do all sorts, and you're going to see all sorts here today in this video, especially with some of the racing action as well. Lots of all sorts in there. Without further ado then, let's jump to the race and let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are then at the start. So you can see a mixture of all sorts. We've got Mazda RX Visions in there, which of course was a strong car at Trial Mountain. We saw that the other day in the stream. But off we go with a good rolling start. So fair play, PED. It looks like you're testing this now. Honestly, superb effort. Superb. I'm glad that that's working well so far. Miscalculate up ahead. Goes to move on Marisonic, who chose the GTR. Brave choice, I think, in the grand scheme of it on this track and layout, but even so, maybe they know something we don't. In towards the left we go. I see, oh, we got a yellow flag already. Was that somebody off? That was somebody off already. As we go through the right-hander, then the left. As we leave here, we've got all... Look at the mess up ahead. We've got, what, two white? We've got Zalar there, falling backwards in the Evo. Well, everyone is Edward here. So I was like, I don't really want to get punted. I don't want to be on the outside here. So I'm taking up the inside line. However, the Evo just absolutely sends it. Completely misses the apex, in my opinion. I had to completely stop to avoid any further action there. So a bad move in the grand scheme there from Zalar. Maybe they didn't realize. I'm not too sure. So coming through the left-hander. And then in towards the right, we're looking to get past the BRZ. Now, I did think about the BRZ, to be honest, but I think it's been nerfed so much that it's probably not the greatest anymore. I'm not too sure. But Daywalker continuing on there in P12 for now. Going through here then, we've got Ragnarok, who just went off. Then Zalar's gone off. Ragnarok's coming back on. Now, Ragnarok, is one of the most confusing drivers you will ever race. Sometimes he will race spotless, clean as a whistle, give you loads of room. Sometimes he'll just put you to the oblivion for no random reason whatsoever. We're still trying to understand it as the Daywalker goes off there, so we're going to gain a position here. And we are going to try and race Ragnarok where we can. But yeah, one of the most confusing drivers I've ever raced ever in the history of Gran Turismo. I still don't understand it. We've advanced a bit further on here. Ben's had a bit of an issue coming out of the chicanes. We're going to try around the outside. Again, a place I don't really like being when there's lots of cars about, because more than likely you're going to get sent to oblivion. I'll just keep it safe here. And Aston Martin tries to go down the inside quickly there of Ben. So Ben tried to defend. Don't think realised I was still there maybe. And we continue on out with the Aston, giving me a bit of a bump draft. You can see, once again, the pack all coming together here. You've got lots of different strategies and lots of things happening. You've also got a mixture of drivers in there. Some that, you know, you will respect. Some that you're like, oh my word, what's happening here? So down the outside here, not the best place. I'll back out of this completely. Ben goes too deep. Mario Sonic obviously gets pushed out wide. The Aston Martin there of Umtu. I have no idea how you pronounce it. 3 positions. 3. My word, fair play with that move from the Aston driver. That is a beautiful move and a beautiful effort as well. Now, trying to defend from the GTR. The Aston, by the way, is a handling car now, if you didn't know. We found that out at the Trial Mountain 30-car race, or 30 races in 30 cars, which people didn't quite understand. But even so, they defend it for now. We just advance through the chicane because it was pretty boring on the chicane this time. And in towards the braking zone, I go down the inside here. Now, I do make the apex, unlike the Evo earlier on, and we give Mario a bit of space on the exit, and we continue on through. So we're side by side at the moment. However, we're on the sort of wrong place here, and oh, the curb bounced me into Mario there. I just avoided them, and oh, we got somebody else off there. Oh no, Clumsy's gone. Sorry to see that from Clumsy. We had a good race earlier on, so unfortunate for that driver. Heading down towards this right-hander then. Ragnarok on the inside, bounced over the curb, forces the Aston Martin wide. We've got the GTR on the inside as well now. It's all kicking off again. Now we get a really good run here on the Aston Martin. So we'll see what the Aston Martin driver does. They're going to go defensive, of course they are. That's us going towards the right-hand side. And we're also concentrating on in the distance as well. Around the outside here, very hard to do, again, because it's a double apex, essentially. It's a 180, so it's much shorter line to do what the Aston Martin did. However, we get a brilliant run out the corner. We know how quick the Porsche is in terms of accelerating, and we're going to go down the inside of the Aston Martin. You may have noticed, I'm not fuel saving at the moment. I didn't realise it was a fuel saving race, and you'll see when I realise later on. But even so, through the left-hander, and we continue on. So at this moment in time, I'm trying to decide with tyre. Oh, the Aston launched it down the inside. We just give enough room there on the inside. And wow, that was a good effort. They made the apex. So fair play to the Italian driver. We're just going through there. We get another bump draft. Happy days. So yeah, I was just trying to decide tyre wear what to do, because I realised the tyre wear is very high. So I was thinking, well, if we come in too early, we're going to be struggling on the tyres at the very... Oh, what a launch and a half. Now, the Aston definitely doesn't make that one. And we're going to try and get the cut back here and job done. Good effort. Not quite with that one. And we continue on through. When you're in a handling car, you do have to make those lunges. I will be honest with you. Right, we've got Mario Sonic and Ragnarok still up ahead of us, still fighting. It was slowing us down so much in this race. I feel we could have gone a little bit further in terms of this. So, continue on out that corner, and Ragnarok still keeping that position as we head towards the right-hander then. Mario Sonic still looking for a way past, looking for a place to go. Ragnarok, literally, that AMG is so wide, it is the length of the circuit. Oh, bit of bump issue there. I'm trying to recover the drive. The Aston Martin hits me and heads off to the realms. Now, at this point, I was like, do I wait up for that? I'm not too sure, because I was in the middle of the road. I couldn't do anything. The car was recovering itself. So I was a bit like, don't I? It's a racing incident, in my opinion. I apologize to the Italian if you feel it was my fault, but I don't think it was, personally. I think it was just unfortunate with the way that happened, because it literally was all because of cars in front as well. Good through here then. At lap 5, we've got somebody in the pits already. That's GTA Drive. They've come off the mediums. They're going on the hard tyre. And that's the sort of thing I was thinking about. Lap 8 was what my goal was in terms of the hard tyre. As we're looking for a way around Mario Sonic. That GTR now as wide as the circuit. A bit like Ragnarok and that AMG. So into the braking zone we go. Around the outside again on hairpins. Doesn't work, Tidge. I'm still trying it all the same, even though it doesn't work. As we continue on then in towards this left-hander. And we're trying. Not going to quite work there. The front really washed out. As we continue on, and Ragnarok there in the distance, still trying to defend this position. Mario Sonic having to defend and attack, very hard to do. As we head towards this quadruple right-hander. This is one of my favourite corners in the game, in the Gran Turismo franchise. I think it's a brilliant corner that really can test skill and can really give you a lap or break a lap as well. A little bit of contact there between the two cars as they tried side by side. We get past Ragnarok, fortunately, and we're also looking for the move on Mario Sonic in towards the braking zone we go, looking down the inside. Ragnarok, oh, nearly hits me on the rear. I think they tried to slow down. Mario Sonic there just gets tapped a little bit here. I'll let off just to let Mario Sonic go. Goes towards the pits, as does Ragnarok, as does the car behind them as well. They're all coming in at this point in time. Ragnarok was actually on the medium tyres. I wait till lap 8 to come in the pits. I don't refuel. I hit the tires. And then I realized I've only got 3.7 laps of fuel left there. Yeah, that's not the greatest for me at all. So yeah, we're about a bit further on then. And yeah, in towards braking zone we go. So yeah, I'm having to fuel save quite a bit here. I'm using fuel map 2 in the corners. I'll use fuel map 1 when accelerating out of corners, although I don't this time. As we see, oh, well, somebody had to have a barrier date, a proper barrier date with barrier R here. And there we have it. So we advanced to lap 13. Now saved enough fuel, thankfully, and we can have a good race with MISCALCULATE on this last lap. In terms of the lap guide, heading in towards turn 1, I was actually using the fence, the start of the fence on the left-hand side as my marker. You can also use the tree. I've talked about the tree many times, but I found the Porsche, it was too early for the tree. It was the fence as we come through here. Now, they're going to go defensive, of course they are. On the right-hand side, we've also got the curb or the orange barrier, whichever one you prefer. Now, I was using the orange barrier here. The curb is also a very good marker, just in case you can't see the orange barrier for some reason. Going through the left-hander then, in towards the right. MISCALCULATE just turns a bit too soon then, and we accelerate through here. Short shift to third in the Porsche through that corner. It will save you a lot of hassle in the long run, trust me. And avoid sausages as well. It's better to avoid them because they are a bit RNG in this race, especially in Gran Turismo 7 as well. They're more RNG than GT Sports. Now head towards the hairpin then. I'm using the tree on the right hand side. You could also use the 100-meter board or the curb. So I've given you 3 brake markers there. How kind am I? As we head towards this braking zone. Now you want to clip the curb on the inside and then accelerate out as quick as you can. I short shift there just for a bit of traction and to save a bit of fuel as well. Now, you want to clip the curb a little bit here, not too much. Get over towards the left-hand side very quickly. And the start of that sand there on the left-hand side, that is your turn-in marker. Now, sometimes you don't have to brake. I'm braking here because I'm right in the middle of the road, so I really do have to slow the car down a little bit here. And we want to clip the curb on the right. Get over towards the right-hand side as quick as possible. And you're looking for that tree. As that tree leaves your screen on the right-hand side, you normally dab the brake and chuck it in. Some cars you may be able to lift. But you see there, I dab the brake, chuck it in, and be careful using the curb on the exit. It's very slippy, that outside curb. I think it bottoms out, to be honest with you, in the Porsche. Heading towards the quadruple right-hander, one of my favourite corners. There's a large black stain on the left-hand side on that pink section. That's your brake marker here. You want to clip the first apex, okay? You don't have to hit the second apex. You then want to clip the third apex because that sets you up for the fourth apex. To hit apexes 1, 3, and 4. Avoid 2. You can hit 2 if you want to, but 2 is not necessarily important. 1, 3, 4 are important. Head towards the hairpin then, the final corner on the circuit. I'm using the orange painted barrier. You could use a 100-meter board if you really want to. Obviously, it depends on tyres. Short shifting, obviously, I'm carrying a bit less speed into this corner as well at this point, so I might brake a bit further after that orange painted barrier. The second apex is your important one. The first one, not so much. And as we leave that corner, we are going to get to the line with enough fuel. Tidge redid his fuel calculations. Tidge is not a Ferrari strategist, sorry. And Tidge finishes in the cursed position. Of course I do, because I always finish there. But that is it in terms of race C. We will have a look at some of the shenanigans in terms of the bloopers. And yeah, let's have a look at them now. Well, blooper number 1 then. So I thought I'd have a look exactly what happened. Did Billy Ray have any right at all, even if something happened? And the only contact I found was that little bit there when Billy Ray braked and Mario Sonic didn't brake because he was currently in control of the car. You see, nothing happened on that entire lap. I fast forwarded it. There was nothing that happens. This is a fair game move. Going for that move. Was that a brake check as well? I'm not too sure. But then slams into... Why? You just look like a moron, Billy Ray. You really do. So don't do that. It's just stupid. Right. In race B, in daily race B, I did spot this in the TV footage. But this... I saw the Megane go off. But I don't know where the Alfa Romeo wanted to go. There was no room there and wanted to go rallycrossing. Very bizarre. And then the Megane trophy literally drove off again after respawning, which was quite funny as well. But yeah, even so. But the one blooper we did talk about was this Subaru. What happened to the Subaru? Mr. Potato Head down the inside. Subaru catches it. Mr. Potato Head doesn't. Oh, straight into the barrier there. I think Mr. Potato Head probably should have waited up there for that one, if I'm honest. Unless there was a contact behind from Mr. Potato Head. I didn't check that. But yeah, all a bit nasty. Right, anyway, we have daily race C, and the Porsche that was off, they did actually go off beforehand. They came on, and there was a slight tap with the Mazda. The Mazda tried to recover, hit the Porsche. Porsche went off, so racing instant that. All good from, well, in my opinion. Let's go to Zalar then. We went straight into the walls with Ragnarok then, through this left-hander. Ragnarok does give space, so not intentional, just a bit of a bad driving miss. I don't know, really. Go through here, side by side, good clean racing. Zalar goes for that move. Goes a bit too deep. Ragnarok from behind. Slight tap. Zalar stops it. All sorts of carnage then ensues. It is what we caught up on in the actual race. As you see Muscafi go by Marisonic. Then TCR Porsche. Thank you, Heinz, for that livery. All the liveries are on the website. Let's have a look down into the hairpin then, which is like 3 wide. So they go for the move down the inside. Not as bad as I thought it was, to be honest with you. This is why I like to reflect on things as well afterwards, because you don't fully know. But it was still a little bit deep. But hey, even so, we're looking at it from Ragnarok's perspective. Now, Ragnarok was on the medium tyres, which is why they didn't brake as much for this corner, which is why there's contact there in the first place, which is why it's just a bit of a racing incident, to be honest, that contact. Hard versus mediums, big grip difference, especially when it's colder tyres as well. So through the left we go, and then the right, and then Ragnarok. He did lift off. See, he lifted off, to be fair. Then Mr. Potato Head comes in as well. All sorts of carnage just then ensues as we leave that. So we've seen all the incidents there for you. I do hope you enjoyed this week's weekly race guide. If you did, please do give it a like on the way out. It helps the channel out massively. Costs you absolutely nothing. Please do subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. But that's it for me now, folks. Have a good week racing, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream very soon.